Alright guys, so here real quick I'm going to go ahead and run over the basics of this removal of the drive wheel and the crank arm right and left, and I'll show you really quickly here the issues. I'm going to be stopping and starting this video a few times, hopefully make it a little bit more quick and insightful for you. So right here we have this replacement piece. This is for the wheel. The belt sits on this, and then both of the pedals, the left side and the right side pedal, as you're looking forward on the unit like this. So now you'll see that this is coming off. It's barely hanging on one side and the other. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take this off, the pedal, and then we're going to have to take this plastic off to expose this ring. Let me go ahead and pause it, and then we'll get onto that. Okay, so I said the right side, actually meant left. I apologize. You can see that is the left side right here. So the left side comes off. Then you take this little cap off, which is this one right here, slide it off. It's very greasy and nasty. Then you'll see this piece right here. So this is called snap ring or C clamper. I can't remember. I'm sorry. My brain's a little fried today. But you need a pair of pliers to go ahead and open that. Now this is a special pair of pliers. You've got to be able to fit those little holes right there. So once those fit, the pliers will go the opposite direction of a normal plier, and it will expand, and then you can take this whole piece off. Now before we go ahead and do that, we also have to unscrew and unbolt the pedal on the right side. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll go get started on taking that ring off. Okay, so one thing that they usually give you for taking these pedals off, I'll try to show the camera. They are on pretty tight. I forgot to mention this on the last one. I'll go ahead and show you what we got. So, like so. There we go. So now they give you this part, this tool. They separate one to the other. This is like a gear puller. So it'll thread into there. Now what I typically like to use is I like to use a number 17 socket because it fits this. So I go in reverse and thread it. Let's put that in. And I'll take it off like so. And there you go. So now we've got the pedal off. And now we're going to have to take all these screws off, which there is a total of 5, 2 top, 1 corner, 2 underneath. And then you got these 2 right on the side as well you'll have to take off. Okay. Oh, forgot this. All right, now the shroud comes right off, and this is what she looks like on the inside. So you're going to have to go ahead and loosen these screws and this. This is a 3/4. These ones I can't remember. I'll go ahead and try a couple out. Let me go ahead and push this video on pause, and I'll get right back on. First one is going to be a lock nut, and then now this other one. And what I do is I go to the very end of this shaft, and I'll show you close up here. Come on, wait for that to adjust. There we go. So I make sure it goes to the end and it stays on so that way the wheel doesn't fall off on the back side, because this is all under pressure. You'll see this pulley right here. What we're trying to do is release the pressure, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this now. So this is wrong way. Now I'll just put this right back on just a little. So now we're not going to need to take this off. So what we can do is, you can see, I'll try to adjust this now, because I removed that pressure. This wheel has a lot of slack, so I can just pop this right off, and it's off. Now we get to try to take this off. Now this is where it's going to get exciting. Okay, so now we're all done with that part. Now we're going to come up to the snap ring section. One thing I went ahead and went a little bit too far is I went ahead and removed the belt. You don't want to do that yet. Now, what you want to do though is, if you do remove the belt, it's not an issue. You can put it back on pretty simply. But go ahead, and this knob right here for the tension, make sure it's all the way tight. So for the reason is that's going to hold down this wheel. Get it all the way tight there. And then, which is in turn going to hold down this, so that way you can do work on it. It's not going to want to move on you. Forgot that part, and I started working on it, and I was like, oops, that's a mistake. So now we are, let's see if I can turn this around and give you an example of what I'm doing. So now this pair of pliers, these little needle nose, very, very fine tip. I'm going to try to use that to get in here and wedge this open. So if you can notice, hopefully it will correct. Trying to do this, it's hard to do it with only two hands. There we go. You can see I'm opening it up a little bit that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to attempt again to remove this by expanding it and then putting in a couple of regular screwdrivers in there to expand it and hold it in place, so we can go ahead and slide it out. All right. Okay, so we got this snap ring off. Let me show you where I put that. Oh boy, here it is. Now this is the snap ring. So how to get it off, what I went ahead and did was you have the shaft. Let's see, a good example here. Let me put this pinky as my shaft. So this is the shaft right here. What I went ahead and did was got these pliers expanded, and then up against the bearing, I put this right here and kind of as a way of supporting it. And then I took this and then just spun the whole bearing around until it all popped off. Then just grabbed it and slid it right off. So now this is off. Now we're going to go ahead and take this whole wheel off that I don't know if you remember, we went ahead and put the tension on this. So we're going to go ahead and remove all the tension on the knob. And then from the back side, we're going to go ahead and take off the belt. There we go, belt's off. So now this thing can spin freely. Now, I went ahead and put the nut on here, and since we don't have a hammer today, I left it in the car and I didn't want to go walk outside. I have my big giant crescent wrench. So, I'm going to go ahead and hammer this off. Okay. Take the nut back off and then slide the whole thing right off. There we go. Now, on the inside, you'll see the couple of pieces that they give you on this new one. So the first thing that pops off is this little ring. The second thing that'll pop off is this little washer, this curved washer. So we have to remember, curved washer, ring, right in. So there's going to be a bearing on one side, curved washer ring, bearing on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we've got to take off. Got to take off this bearing right here and this bearing right there. So there's a couple ways of doing that. Quite simple. A way to rip it off. Got to find something long. So here we go. This is my shaft extension. So what I'm going to do is use my 1/2 extension. Just pop it off. And then now I'm going to do the other side, and you'll see it pop off here. Oopsies. There we go. Now the kit that they gave us is 2 brand new bearings, that curved washer, and a little spacer that I remember showing you. So take these off, and we're going to have to make this come this way. So to do that, do the washer, and that bearing is going to go right on like so. Good. What I sometimes do is take a little grease, put it on the inside so it'll lube it a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and try this first here. Not too bad. And this one. There. Now this is where you're going to really want to hammer. It's going to give it a good adjustment all the way around. Some of you wondered why I did that, but I did not want to dent this bearing up. So I put something in front of it a little bit more flat to levelly tap this in. And then now I'm going to go ahead and tap this in on this side. And I've got to go ahead and put this on the nut so I don't damage the threads. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and tap in from the back side here. Go ahead and show you what we're looking for. So, adjust this camera. Oh, come on. Dang it. There we go. So you see this little groove right here. Trying to get a little bit more of that groove to pop over. So you go ahead and do a couple more little love taps here. Now we're going to go ahead and put the snap ring back on. There we go. There we go. And you probably heard that click into place. There we go. So now, pick this little oil cover thing, pop that right over, and on the other side. Okay, so now on the other side, remember this knob, we want it to be all the way to the minus. Oh, come on, everything's needing to adjust. There we go. So as far over to the minus as possible. And then we're going to put this right back up on there. And then right over here. And then we're going to spin it on. Similar to putting a chain back on a bike. Just make sure it's safely on. Very hard to do one-handed. There we go. And there we go. Now she's on. So now we're going to go ahead and remove this. Throw the old one away. And the next part we're going to go ahead and do is readjust these bolts the way they should be. Tighten this down, and then we should be putting the cover on. We'll go ahead and do that part. Okay, so I've already tightened the other side. Again, remember, I'm using a 10 millimeter on this side. So if you just tighten one side, then you go ahead and use this and kind of push. You don't have to do it that much work at first. Then just tighten it up the rest of the way. There we go. And Alright, now it's time for us to put that shroud all over here. So okay, so now we've got these to put on. For the right side and for the left side. Now we go ahead and bolt these down, and then we're all set.